to have the bollocks.
Do you really want to go toe to toe with me on that?
Like, what are we doing here? Levy isn't going anywhere.
It's all down to timing, isn't it?
Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs 5. I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things you love. It's the Spurs 5 normally. Tonight, so far, it's the Spurs 3. Johnny's on his way. He's coming back from Hollypops. I think he's been in Scotland. But actually, the Spurs 5, guys, for what it's worth, quick channel update. Get it out of the way right from the get-go. The Spurs 5 has become the Spurs 4. Sava has decided to leave the channel. Look, everything's amicable. It's all love. But he's decided that he wants to move away from all the panel shows that he's involved in and just focus primarily on Football Heritage TV. We completely support him in that regard. We thank him for his contribution to the early stages of the Spurs 5. And obviously, he's entirely welcome back, at any point in the future when he wants to come on. And we wish him all the best going forward with all of his endeavours. But yeah, just thought we'd get that out of the way straight off the bat, guys. So yeah, it's the Spurs 4. We got no intentions in the immediacy anyway to replace Sava and come back to the Spurs 5. I think we can figure it out going forward, guys. Please do smash the like button for us if you are a happy or an unhappy camper in the Spurs community right now. We've got loads to talk about following our exit from Newcastle, from the Carabao Cup away at Newcastle. A lot of you wanted more pretty football, less pragmatism, more sort of creativity. We saw a little bit of it, but unfortunately with that came some different sort of outcomes. So we're going to talk about how all that shapes up, talk about the game in detail, but please smash the like, hit the subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notification bell, and of course drop your comments thick and fast. Let us know all of your takes on our takes. We are also, by the way, on all of your podcast platforms that you might want to endeavour. So when you are walking the wife, if you're not watching this live and you would like to listen to us or watch us back, you can watch us back on Spotify and you can listen to us back on Apple Pods and Amazon and all that jazz. Just search for Spurs 5 or get yourself into the description and find the links. We appreciate any support in that endeavour. Lubo, how you doing, my man? How is your Thursday, the end of the October month? How's it all going for you?
Yeah, all going. Thanks. I'm here. All good tonight. Shame about last night, but it wasn't too big a surprise.
So,
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you go up to Newcastle, they're going to feel us that they've got a stronger all-round squad than us. They made changes. They still had a strong team out there. They got those amazing fans. And I think it was a step too far for us with all the injuries. And I say injuries, it's, you lose 12 players.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he only played 3 subs. He left Mickey on the bench for a well-deserved rest. And I think it was decided in both boxes where, unfortunately, we gave away 2 silly goals. And we missed a few chances in the back end of the first half that, really, if you had someone like Kane or even a half decent centre forward, it could well have been a different game. So unfortunately, it was a tale of 2 boxes.
Oh, I'm going to say the tale of 2 boxes. That's the name of a different podcast that I might frequent. Before we'll talk about it in much more detail. Stel, big up to you, my man. How you doing? Welcome back. In fact, let me put you up the top, mate. I prefer being the bottom shelf. How you doing, buddy? You okay?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Big up the chat, smash the like, the drill. Good to be here as always. I'm a bit different to Lubo. I'm not happy, if I'm honest with you. I'm not. I'm not angry. I'm not frank out. Every single player is shit. I'm not happy because we really could have won that game yesterday, and I don't fully blame the players. I blame the players, and I also have questions of Frank. So I'm a bit indifferent to Lubo. that was the only cup we could seriously win, and yeah. I didn't like it, so I'm happy.
Yeah,
we will speak about it. We will chat about it because I've got a few things I want to raise about that game. So.
Well, yeah. Well, let's get straight into it. Let's talk about it. Look, because there's three of us. Obviously, Lubo's on his way back. Sorry, not Lubo. Johnny's on his way back. He'll be here within 45 minutes, hopefully, or if traffic's on the if traffic is forgiving. So, but we've got a lot of time to go through everything. I just want to show you guys the stats of the game, because I'll tell you why I bring this up. Right, I did a video last night on my channel, and I titled it "Outclassed by the Toon," and I went into the detail, but I was really sort of talking more around. I feel like the overarching narrative for me was that Newcastle United have just got a squad full of absolute monsters. And when I said outclassed was the wrong term, I kind of mean like there was more of a domination in the physicality and the strength and the athleticism. And those sorts of things seem to count more now than ever before. And in the comments of the video, I said that, look, we were beaten by the better team, but there were lots of positives. If you were looking for positives, if you were looking for more in the way of creativity, if you were looking for more in the way of open play, access to the opportunity, whatever, then you saw it. Okay, we're on the bad end of the result, but the performance was better with the ball, at least in the first half. And so it was like there was a caveat, outclassed with a caveat. The comment section, as always in the Tottenham fan base, was entirely split. On the one hand, you had people saying, yep, I don't think we were outclassed at all, Sean. I don't think there was much between the two sides apart from sort of clinical edge. And this is why I'm bringing the stats up, because I think the stats sort of support this, guys, right? Like, apart from the XG, 2 versus 1 in a nutshell, we edged possession, total shots, not a lot of difference between them. Big chances, not a lot of difference between them. More saves from their goalkeeper than ours. Not a huge amount of difference between the passes. The stats tell a fairly even game. But in the comment section of that video that I put out, half of the comments were saying, I don't agree that we were outclassed. I think that there wasn't a lot between the teams. And the other half were saying, what positives? What are you talking about? There were no positives last night. We were completely smashed to pieces. So again, like, you two have already disagreed with each other on this. Luba, I'll start with you. Like, what was your overarching take, mate?
Overarching take was that with the key moments in the game, unfortunately, Danso got out-muscled twice. On the second occasion, Kinski should never have come out. Once again, we hear we've heard in the chats on social media about Vicario this season. He made errors against Brighton, Leeds, and Wolves. I think we've seen in the last 3 games that he is a mile clear of Kinski. There's no argument on this one. And I know people call me old-fashioned, and I haven't moved with the times because football is about ball-playing goalkeepers now. But you can keep all your, you can keep your great passes from Kinski. If you can't keep the ball out the net, it's no bloody good. And for me, right, you look at what Vicario did against Everton and Monaco. If it hadn't been for him, we'd have probably had 2 defeats there, the way it was going. He kept us in the game at City at 0-0 with that one-on-one with Marmoush. I'm good, thanks, Futures. And for me, that was a massive negative for me, unfortunately. Vicario was injured, couldn't play. Kinski comes in as the number 2. And like last time, the last 3 games I've seen him play, forget Doncaster, Arsenal away, Trossard's shot went under him. Villa away in the cup, the ball's gone through his hands in 50 seconds. And last night, and he's just not ready. I don't know why. We spent 12.5 million on him. We had Austin there. We had Keeley coming through. We got Gunter coming through. It was a complete waste of money. And for me, the sooner they get rid of him, the better. Because he's not up to it. He's not up to it. And for people to turn around, some people turn around and say, look, it's difficult for goalkeepers when you're not playing regularly. Well, look how Ramsdale played yesterday. So that sort of knocks that argument on the head. The other area for me was up front. We had a very good 20 minutes after Fabian Schär put them one up, between 24th minute and half time. Thought Bergwijn and Sarr had their best 20 minutes of the game. And again, nothing up front. Just nothing. I mean, the ball came to Johnson on one occasion. He hit one nice ball across that Richie just missed. He just put the ball off the first time the cross came to him. For that. He's poor. Richarlison, Jesus, he's just getting worse and worse. I mean, he's overrun across from Bergwijn. All he had to do was time his run and just pass the ball into the net. And goals.
Becoming a habit a little bit with our nines, isn't it? Matisse Tell's done it 3 or 4 times this season as well.
Goals bring momentum and swing momentum in a game, and we had a really good chance there to put it back. He could have had 2 or 3 easily. Richarlison, there was a header straight at the keeper. He was 6 yards out. I mean, just horrendous. And you look at it and you just think to yourself, with Richarlison and Johnson as our front two, what chance have we got for scoring? It's and unfortunately that had a major bearing on the game. He should have hooked Frank should have hooked Richie earlier and brought Moani on. If I'm going to criticize Frank, then that's the criticism. There wasn't too much more that he could have done. He wants to, he kept Mickey van der Ven in cotton wool with Romero injured, and we don't know whether Romero's back Saturday, Tuesday, the following Saturday, or after the international break. And you don't want to lose Mickey as well. If Van der Ven's out, who comes in? Gray's now out. Davis is out. Sakai's not fit. Dragison's out.
Lubo, can I ask you a question on this? Because no one's really asking this. Why is it when previous managers had an injury crisis, we didn't show this kind of sympathy and this kind of empathy? Yet with previous managers, when they had an injury crisis, deal with it, adapt. Why is it there's a different energy here when it's the same problem? Because the manager got all the blame last season for injuries. Now we've got injury crisis. Who are we going to blame now? Levy's not here. He's gone. Ange ain't here, so he's gone. Who are we going to blame now?
Ange got blamed for the injuries for training. And also
who are we blaming now, though? Who are we blaming now?
In terms of, the difference between injuries...
Because the injuries are getting more and more, aren't they? They're increasing.
At the moment, I mean, we had 12 out yesterday. You've got your long term with Maddison and Kulu. Dragison's nearly there. He's back in a few weeks. Sakai, God knows. I mean, we haven't even seen him. And the rest have all been injuries that have been picked up over the last 3 months. Contact injuries, unfortunately, you can't do anything about in games. That happens. I think the difference. Why did Ange not get sympathy regarding
because he was moaning about it all the time
last season? I'll answer that. As far as I'm concerned, it wouldn't have made too much difference because whoever was playing, Ange played a suicidal 2 at the back system with inverted fullbacks and left us wide open. So it didn't matter which personnel was playing. He played like an under 10 coach. So for me, that was the issue. Yes, he had injuries.
So why are you talking about injuries now? Then don't bring up injuries when you're talking about yesterday's game.
No, but Frank.
So you've just contradicted yourself. You're saying but Ange played this silly system, so you want to talk about injuries. But
Injuries were a part of the narrative under Ange. It was Ange that was bringing it up every 5 minutes. Whereas Thomas, I sort of feel like the opposite still. I feel like because Thomas Frank sort of has this "it is what it is" approach and doesn't really mention it, that he doesn't like some people that want to have his back are more likely to raise that topic because if it's not coming from the manager, then it's liable to get forgotten about in the analysis. Whereas Ange Postecoglou would mention, everything and anything. He'd say, "Oh, I'm not making excuses," and he'd love to do that double talk thing. I'm not someone to make excuses, but here's 25 reasons why it's not my fault. Whereas Thomas Frank hasn't done that. Thomas Frank sort of said, he's another one down. It is what it is.
So what you're saying to me, Sean, let me get this right. So what you're saying to me is, if the manager moans about the injury crisis, then we need to go in on the manager. But if we have a similar injury crisis, but the manager doesn't moan about it, then the manager gets protected, regardless of the fact that we have the same problem, regardless of who the manager is. Because let's not forget, Mourinho, when we were top of the table and we were going into January, we lost Kane and Son simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
We lost both our strikers. I think the point I'm trying to raise here, guys, isn't it now being proven that, forget Ange, any manager, we have got an issue at this club when it comes to injuries. Something still isn't right with rehabilitation, with the way we train them, with the way we monitor them, with the way that we look and evaluate medical and injury issues at the club. There is a fundamental issue at this club because it just happens all the time. More so than most clubs, I would say. It seems to happen to us way too often and with too many players. But I think Frank's got every right to moan about injuries. If he came out and moaned about it, I'd say, do you know what? I don't blame you. This is ridiculous. Right. The injuries we've got is insane.
Yeah, so I hear what you're saying. I don't think that we were blaming. Well, there was an element of people that were under the impression that the reason why we were getting the injuries, the sort of injuries we were getting under Ange, was because of overtraining. Right, I think that was like, it was a lot of hamstrings. It was a lot of those types of things.
Yeah, like Van de Ven was down to Ange. His hamstring was down to
and Romero.
Right. And Romero being listen.
And Romero, yeah.
I think that you're probably right that there's inconsistency with the application of blame for those sorts of things, for accountability. I don't know who knows whether it was Ange's fault. I hear you on the application of accountability inconsistency, but what I would say is I think that with Ange Postecoglou, there was a lot of, for people that were getting frustrated with him, there was always a lot of double talk. There was always a lot of, both things can't be true than what you're saying. When he was saying things like, the injuries aren't my fault. You're accusing me of the injuries being my fault. They're not my fault. We don't train anymore. But at the same time, he's going out and putting out a back three for the first time for 45 minutes against Everton. And then it's then saying, see, it doesn't work. Now let me get back to my traditional model. There was always this kind of salesman-like, in my opinion, the way I saw it, there's always this salesman's-like rationale as to why whatever was going wrong wasn't his fault, but at the same time saying, I'm not the sort of person who makes excuses, but here's 15 reasons why it's not my fault. With Thomas Frank, he's not going down that path. And so when people are attacking him, the people that want to defend him are sitting there and kind of are raising those topics on his behalf because he isn't the person who's bringing that attention through the media. I think there's just a different approach from the horse's mouth as to what's going on within the club, and therefore, if the manager's not the person who's talking about it, it doesn't get the same sort of attention through the media, and therefore those people that want to defend him will bring that stuff up on his behalf. And I think that's the main difference. But maybe there's agendas at play as well. I think there's a hell of a lot of point scoring that goes on within the Tottenham fan base.
Listen, I don't disagree. I actually wouldn't mind if Frank came out and said, fan base, we just need to be realistic. Over the next month or so, we have got a lot of injuries. We will do the best we can with what we've got. We're going to keep doing what we do, but we just need to be a bit realistic. We've got loads of games. And I actually wouldn't mind if Frank came out and spoke about it. So I think actually the way he is with the media, he would deliver the message in such a way that fans would say, do you know what? Yeah, fair play. Because he is good with the media. He's eloquent in his explanations of what's going on. So I think it might actually help him if he spoke about it, because Vicario's injured now out of nowhere. I didn't even know that. I was saying yesterday, I went on a couple of shows after the match, and I was saying I'm pissed off Vicario was dropped. He's our most informed player, and we drop him. But now, what I said is incorrect because he's injured. Frank was absolutely right to start Kinski. So I think it'll be good if he spoke about it, personally speaking. I mean, would you guys think he should maybe come out and just talk about it a bit and say, look, it's not an excuse, guys, but this is pretty savage at the moment. We're dropping like flies.
Well, I just made a list. You've got your 4 long-term injuries in Kulu, Maddison, Dragusin and Sakai. You've got 3 players who got injured on the training pitch, based on the reports I've seen, which are Gray, Odebear and Solanke. And in matches, although and Basuma wasn't even playing for us at the time. We've lost through match day injuries. We've lost Romero, Udogi, Vicario, Basuma, and Davis. So it's a real mix. It's a real mix. Whereas last year players were being overtrained, they were actually playing because they're overtrained. They were in the red zone after 45, 60 minutes, and that always risked an injury in the last 30 minutes of every game. So, you know, thankfully we haven't got that this season. We haven't got. We're playing a mix of high line and low block, so the players generally haven't had as many recovery sprints as they did last season because of the slight change of system. But we still seem to be getting injuries here. So I don't know. It is
odd. It is bizarre that it's almost like there is a curse on the football club, Lubo. You know, the fact that, you know, we have got 10, 11 injuries under a Thomas Frank system, who, by the way, doesn't train that much either. Like, to give Ange a little bit, I hate harking back on the past, but to give Ange a little bit of a breather on this one, the reality is that when you are playing twice a week, you do spend 2 days playing, 2 days traveling, 2 days recovering. So, you know, in a week, you're probably gonna get 1.5 days on the training ground. So the logic's in a way where you think, well, how is it that Tottenham players are always injured disproportionately more than any other football club? And by the way, our players that go on loan, they never seem to get injured. So, like, there is something weird about the amount of frequency and the consistency in which it happens.
That's so true. The players that go on loan don't get injured.
Yeah,
you're right. That's a good point.
Is there something wrong with the training ground? Is the grass at the training? You know how the American football players always say, like, playing on the NFL pitch is different to, you know, traditional pitches in America.
Yeah.
Is there any, like, is the training ground built on concrete or something? I don't know. Like, it's like I can't put my finger on why it happens, but it does happen.
I think there's something fundamentally flawed with the medical process. Assessing when players should be rested, assessing when players' rehabilitation is properly completed, assessing when players need to just be given a break, assessing when players come back too soon, assessing the actual injury itself, treating the injury. You look at all these injuries we just listed. None of them have come back. Right, they get injured and they stay there. So, well, yeah. Surely you've got to come back. Like, we don't. It's not as if one gets injured. Oh, but we got Ben Davies back, or another player gets injured. All right, okay, Kulu's back. It just adds to the list. I don't understand it. There's something has to be wrong in that.
And these other stories, right, where players come to Tottenham, break down, barely ever play. It's not Sessegnon's not the only one. You know, who's the other guy? The Israeli player who went to Leeds. Manor Solomon, right? Yeah, he comes to Tottenham, doesn't play for 2 years, goes on loan, absolutely fine, comes back to Tottenham, breaks down, goes out to Italy or Spain, wherever he is, and he's absolutely fine again. There is probably a curse. Someone has cursed Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, you got and you got Solanke from the current squad, who seems to be regularly injured. And he was never injured playing for Bournemouth, Chelsea, Liverpool. So
I guarantee you, if Kudus gets injured, he'll be out for 4 months. He'll be out for half a season, something. You know it. Paulinho, ACL, never happened in his life. Suddenly, it just
Lo Celso's another one. Brian Hill's another one.
Yeah.
Like, we sign these players, they get injured, they go on loan, they're absolutely fine, they come back and they break down again. There is something going on with regards either the training pitches or the weather, or I don't got no idea what it is, but there's something more to it than just bad luck.
So Harry Kane had a constant injury. Remember, he had a foot injury that always used to come and bite him, and he'd be out for 2 months and whatnot. And then he went and got an external personal physio medical team, and his injury went away.
Yeah.
Right. Is that not the answer right there? He went and personally paid for private.
An exorcist.
Someone with a voodoo doll and a pin. Just
an exorcism of the Tottenham training ground. It's madness. Well, it's madness.
Maybe we need to outsource the medical department. Just outsource it to some
Yeah.
third-party company and just say, look,
I think they already do for some of the serious injuries, right? I think Maddison gets out. Maddison's knee injury got treated by. There was a documentary, or he put it on his channel, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think we're cursed as a club anyway. You know, you look at we're just about to go fourth, and you've got Lasagna Gate at West Ham.
Yeah.
You know, fast forward it to the Champions League final. They changed the rules the day before the final, and Liverpool get a penalty in 21 seconds. I mean, still the worst decision I've ever seen in my life, ever.
I think it was the correct decision, though, according to the rules at the time.
Well,
you know? And the rules were changed about 2 weeks after that happened, wasn't it? You know, so
yeah. So I just, you know.
But let's talk a little bit about the game, right? So not the specifics, but I do want to ask you this because the kind of the commentary in the zeitgeist from everybody going into the week was Tottenham's football is boring, right? We're set piece FC. I can't stand this. You know, three-quarters of Twitter is like they don't care that we beat Everton. It's unacceptable to play this way. It's horrendous. They want to see more creativity. They want to see more attack, more flair, more Tottenham way, all that kind of thing. Against Newcastle, we didn't get any set pieces. I think we got 2 corner kicks the entire game. So we didn't get a chance to do the set piece FC thing. The first 25 minutes of the game were probably Newcastle's, but the second half of the first half, when Tottenham finally grew into the game, I think I saw some of the best football in moments that Tottenham have put on display from open play in weeks.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think there was some lovely football. There was some nice first time passing, and and moving off. I think Simmons, although it's for me, he didn't touch the heights or get near the heights of Brighton, where I thought he was brilliant for half an hour. You can see he's improving. You can see he's getting on the ball more, and with that will come more and more confidence. Love the way he went after Joe Linton after Kudus got classes. So he's no bottle job, that's for sure. That for me was a positive. I thought for that period before half time, Sarr and Bergvall picked up their game and they played as you want to see them play. Lovely ball in from Bergvall again. Richie was nowhere near. There were positives. If we'd have had a decent striker, we'd have scored goals in that 20 minutes, for sure.
Did you like seeing? I'm not sure whether you would call it a flat 3 across the middle still, or was it Bergvall that was playing in the 10 and Bentancur and Sarr playing in that double pivot? I'm not really sure how you would describe it because I think there was a little bit of fluidity. But I think there's a lot of people have been questioning Bergvall's profile. What is it that he does? For the first time in weeks, I saw some connectivity between the midfield and the attack. I hear what Lubo's saying around if you had different players in certain positions. If you had Mawani on from the start and the same chances fell to him rather than Richarlison, maybe it would have been a different outcome. But but did you like Bergvall's involvement? I thought he was much better in his ability to kind of just bring other players into play.
Can I take my thoughts on the game and I'll discuss Bergvall as part of it?
Sure.
Because my overall take from it is I'm not happy because this was our best chance of winning a trophy. And for me, on Monday's show when we were trying to predict the starting lineups, I said go strong on Wednesday, go strong on Sunday, and then rotate for the Copenhagen game. Because for me, we can win this competition. We've got a chance. And Sunday, no one wants to lose to Chelsea. Nobody. The Copenhagen game, I think we can afford to rotate. I do. But what it said to me was that starting lineup effectively said to me, winning the Carabao Cup is not the priority. It's where we finish in the league. And for me, that's been my moan for the last 6 years with every other manager and every other mentality at this club. We've got to get into the habit of taking trophies seriously. I don't care if we're in transition. I don't care if we're in a new project, phase 1, 2, 10, whatever. The way I look at it is this. A lot of teams this year aren't on point. They're off the boil. That means there's an opportunity. we would have got Fulham at home in the quarterfinals. I fancy us. Suddenly we're in the semis. But because we didn't go for it, we've effectively said, you know what, there's the white flag. We'll give it a go, but we're not going to be that serious about it. And it's okay to go out of a cup. This is the problem with Tottenham. This has been my issue at this club for so long. And Frank, for me, is just playing that game of, do you know what? It is more important to be higher up in the league, and it is more important to try and stay in the Champions League, even though we know we're not going to win it. For a lot of fans, they'll say that's fine because that's part of the project, that's part of the process, and it's more important to be in the Champions League because that's how we get the money to buy the new players. But I really thought this is a competition we should have taken really seriously, especially when all the other teams last night rested players. That tells you they're not taking it seriously. So if we take it seriously, we've increased our chances of being successful at it. So when I look to the starting lineup, I don't blame him for resting Kudus. I don't blame him. But again, if we're serious about winning it, he starts. I don't blame him for resting the striker because we've got an issue with the striker. My issue with Richarlison is he's the worst of the lot. And him being there is just... I can't stand Richarlison at Spurs. I was annoyed when we signed him, and I've been annoyed ever since whenever he plays. He's rubbish. He's not a football player. My friend texted me last night and said to me, how have we managed to sign the only Brazilian that looks like he played at Hackney Marshes? I said to him,
he's so bad, isn't he? He's so bad.
That's the perfect analogy. He's awful.
Do you know what, though, Stel? I actually thought... So I went harsh on him as well, basically, in my analysis of the game. But I actually thought there were a couple of moments in the build-up play. Like those chances that we created, he was slightly instrumental in the build-up to some of those plays. Like he did come deep. His first touch from the long ball was slightly better. He laid it off to Xavi Simons in quite an effective way, who then found Bergvall and it, danced around a little bit from there. I don't want to give him too much credit because I'm with you generally. I didn't want the player at Tottenham Hotspur when we were linked with him from Everton. I was like, what are we doing here? Should have been Anthony Gordon. We ended up getting him, and nothing's changed my mind. But last night, I felt like there was a few moments in the first half where I felt like I was seeing a little bit more of the version of him that we saw in the PSG game, where he actually held the ball up quite well. Didn't obviously get on, didn't do what a striker needs to do, which is put the ball in the back of the net, but he wasn't completely ineffective. Is that fair, or did you see it?
I think you're clutching for the sake of playing devil's advocate. I thought he was god awful, man. He was god awful. He couldn't get on the end of balls. The 46th minute, we're 1-0 down. 30 seconds before half time, and he's got a clear header in front of goal, 6 yards out, and he guides it into the goalkeeper's hands. I'm thinking, dude, that was the equaliser right there. We go in at 1-1. You're rubbish. You're just rubbish. He's arguing with the referees, going to ground, all this shithousery. It's like he has no place at this football club. And at half time, he should have been hooked. Ange should have said, Frank should have said, I'm not doing this. This is a joke. I don't care. Bring on Moani at half time. If you don't want to bring on Moani, fine. Bring on Tell, who I don't rate, but he's slightly better than Richarlison. Or bring on Dane Scarlett. Give him a chance. Give the kid a chance. Richie's awful. No one's going to convince me that he's better than Dane Scarlett. So I looked at that and I thought, that's on the manager. This is the manager's choice to play him up front. And then defensively, I don't understand why Van der Ven was rested. There's no need to rest him. We're not playing Angeball on the halfway line, suicidal sprints back. I haven't once watched Tottenham this year and thought, I think Van der Ven's hamstring might go here. I feel so confident him on the pitch. Let him play. Rest him against Copenhagen. Let him play. Taking one of our best players this season, Paulinho, shoehorning him into the centre-back role, it wasn't needed. We didn't need to do that. So
and on top of that, still moving like Danso, who I think has been nearly flawless for me. I think he's been so impressive on the right side, and moving him to the left side. People that sit there and say, "Oh, a defender's a defender. If you can defend, you can play either side, right or left." Listen, I've never played the game. But it just doesn't make any sense to me as a logical thing. If you're a right footer and you're being asked to play on the left hand side out of like as an abnormality, then crosses that are coming in from the right hand side, generally you're going to have more people in front of you than behind you than you're used to. And conversely, if people are crossing the ball in from the left hand side, you're going to have fewer people in front of you than are behind you more than you're used to. And I think that Danzo had an absolute stinker last night. And I think that the second goal, and there was a lot of chances that went Newcastle's way that they didn't take, that Danzo his positioning was absolutely atrocious for. And it can only be for me because he was playing in an abnormal, unorthodox position to what he's used to.
And he hasn't got the protection of Paulinho in front of him, which he's used to when he does play. So I look at those decisions and I think we didn't need to do that. There was no need. We could have avoided that. And those factors held us back to some degree. What I'm not going to do is blame Frank for us not scoring, because yes, the Richarlison thing, I've put it on Frank, but Johnson had a really good chance to either square it or shoot, and he kicks it off the pitch. There was twice Xavi Simons running forward with the ball.
I remember that, yeah.
Honestly,
that was shocking. What was that? What was he doing with that one? Absolutely embarrassing.
I spent a lot of money having to extract hair and putting it into the ball places. It was falling out watching him play. All this money's just falling off my head. I'm like, Richie, yeah. I mean, Johnson, you've got a pass. You've got a shot. You kick it off the pitch. It wasn't even side netting. You know, Xavi Simons driving forward and either stumbling on the ball or not quite finding those passes. He had a slightly better game than normal, but still, he's not clicking. And, you know, it was just, I can't blame Frank for that. I can't blame Frank for those things. You know, these players, we say every week, they're not good enough and they let us down. So that I'm not going to blame him for.
All right, but I've got to ask you this before I bring Lubo in. It's just because the topic is about.
I was going to say about Bergville, Sean, because you did ask.
Sorry.
I don't want to take up the whole show, but I thought Bergville was much. I thought he was much better tonight. But the issue I have with all our midfielders is that unless they're creating or they're scoring, just linking up the play and moving the ball around the pitch just doesn't do it for me. Either you've got to create some clear-cut chances or you've got to put the ball in the back of the net. Otherwise, you're just another number on the pitch that just receives the ball and passes it there, or receives the ball, runs forward with it and gives it to someone else. That's nice, but any half-decent player can do that. We need to see more. But it's so frustrating having watched that game. We actually could have got something out of it. We really could have. And I put half of it down to Frank, just not going for it. But I also put it down to players that they shouldn't be at Tottenham, guys. And we say every week, there's players at this club. You know, it's a miracle we're third in the league and the top goal scorers. It's actually phenomenal. And Sean, you mentioned set pieces.
Yeah.
If we were going to go down the set piece route, you need Van de Ven because he's the top man at it. He's scored 5 goals this season.
Well, and you need Kudus who can cross the ball in from certain, because he wasn't on the pitch, right? So we haven't got a corner taker on that side. But I think we mentioned this on Monday night's show. I genuinely, I initially thought about this as more of like I said it as a joke, like it wouldn't really be a thing. But I think I said to you guys, I think Stel, you agreed with me that a smart tactician like Eddie Howe, who's masterful in the dark arts, would probably observe the fact that Tottenham are a team that are more than happy to take the corner because of the way we set up naturally when we have that double pivot. Bentancur and Paulinho don't really progress past the halfway line unless there is a sustained period of horseshoe football at the top end, or unless there's a set piece. And when we got the ball last night, every time we crossed the ball in, it looked to me like the fullbacks allowed the cross to come in. It almost looked like they thought, you know what, don't let them have corner kicks. And we didn't have. We had 2 corner kicks the entire night. You know, and I think that without that, you're kind of then you have to rely on your offensive output. You have to rely on your open play. And I thought the open play was better, Lubo. I thought it was better than I've seen it for a long time.
Yeah,
but it still didn't have any clinical edge. Again, maybe because we rotated too much, and maybe. But I guess the other side of the argument is true as well. I think Scott M put it in there. there's no guarantee that we would have won that game had we gone full strength. And there's also no guarantee that just because we didn't go full strength last night, that we're going to therefore beat Chelsea on the weekend. Like, two things can be true at the same time. You could have gone full strength last night and won or lost. You could have gone full strength against Chelsea and won or lost. But, do you think it was the right, with the benefit of hindsight, was it right to rotate, or was it a fool's errand?
I suppose you look back now, it's easy with hindsight to say, well, we should have played a full strength team and maybe we'd still be in there. But for me, well, firstly,
tell at half time, Lubo. At half time, you could see we were in it.
Yes,
we were banging the game at half time. 100%, we were banging the game at half time.
We were on top of it, actually.
And that was without Vicario, Mickey, Kudus, and Moani.
And that's the point. Bring them on.
And Paulinho at the back. So there's 5 changes there, in effect. First, I just want to say, sort of big up to all the fans. If there's anyone in listening today that was up there last night, absolutely fantastic. I've spoken to friends of mine who were up there, sort of rolled into their house 4:15, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, depending on how long coaches or the drive took and how many stops they took. Fantastic. I thought the fans were brilliant. It's a horrible journey. I'll be going up for the league game. Thankfully, I'll be staying overnight. I've got friends up there. I wouldn't like to be doing. There were thousands that went up by coach.
No trains. There was no trains home, was there?
No trains after 8 o'clock. I think the club put on a coach. A friend of mine was on a coach. They picked up, I think, at Pickett's Lock around 11ish. They were, and I think it was a club coach, and they were charging a tenner, which I think was full marks to the club as well for that. There we go, Vinay. Well done,
Daniel.
Vinay.
That was a Daniel.
He's done. That's Vinay.
Big up to my chairman.
Yeah.
He's still bringing in some great initiatives.
But you look at and I don't often agree with Scott, and he knows that, and love him to bits, but don't often agree with him. But he's right. There's no guarantee you play a full strength team with a won yesterday, or for that matter, in 5 weeks' time when we go up for the league. I think we'll be better. I think hopefully we'll have some players. We'll have some players back by then. I think it'll be a big difference if we got Romero and Van der Ven, Porro and Udogie, or Spence in that back 4 up at Newcastle. But for yesterday, he did rotate. Listen, Vicario was injured. Moani, he's trying to play in gradually, isn't he? He's trying to get him match fit without actually killing the guy.
Were you impressed by him when he came on, Lubo?
Moani?
Yeah.
He came on. I think he came on 58 minutes, didn't he? He came with.
I don't really remember him doing anything, to be entirely honest.
Not
I know we
really.
were 2-0 down at that point, so the game was largely gone. But I don't really remember him doing anything.
Apart from Sar's shot that Ramsdale tipped round the post, can't remember too much else that we created after going 2-0 down. I think our chance was at 1-0 down the first half. If we'd have scored a couple of goals, gone in 2-1 up at half time, then maybe the game would have swung a little bit, and maybe the result would have been different. It was always a tough ask, when that draw came out, everybody just groaned, didn't they? And it was like, oh God, it could have been a lot easier. Yeah,
it could have been just as difficult elsewhere, though.
It could have been.
Liverpool, Arsenal, Brighton, they're all difficult places.
Can I ask you guys then, if we lose to Chelsea on Sunday, does that then
invalidate the rotation?
Yeah. I was going to say, if we beat Chelsea, does it justify it? But same thing. Do we now have to not lose to Chelsea to make sense of the rotation or not?
Yeah, I think so. I think the fan base are ready to look for elements of the fan base are ready to have a crack no matter what. And there's a segment that we're going to talk about in a little while about are the fan base, realistic with their expectations. But I think that given the amount of injuries we've got, I think you have to rotate. I think you do. me personally, like I think that we shouldn't. I think we should have gone full strength personally, because I'm in the kind of camp that thinks that we've only got 2 realistic chances of a trophy this year, and that we've just given one away. I'm not saying that if we'd gone full strength, we would have absolutely beaten them. And you look around all the other clubs that don't take it that seriously either. Like Wolves rotated basically their entire team. Liverpool didn't put a first team player even on their bench when they rotated. Arsenal rotated 8 players, I think. So, but they still managed to get through. The rotation play is only acceptable if you win, but you have to make the decision on the rotation before you know the outcome of the game. So it's one of those catch-22s, right? But if we go full strength, or as full strength as we can against Chelsea, and then we put in a stink fest and we lose 1-0, then the fan base are going to do what they do, and you can understand it to a degree, because there was a really good opportunity last night. Not saying that we would have won necessarily. Newcastle's a very tough place to play, but we could have. They were there for the taking at half time, and in the second half we didn't turn up. So if we'd gone from the get go, I think we would have. We probably could be in the quarterfinals right now.
I don't think we've got a good enough squad to win a trophy this season, Sean, in all honesty. I really don't. We're miles off the top 4. The squad's thin. It's even thinner with injuries. I think we're...
The same squad won a trophy last year, Lubo, no?
Yeah, but
a weaker squad won a trophy last year.
Right, but the competition was on a much lower level.
We beat Bodo last year. We lost to them this year.
No, we drew.
We drew.
Yeah. But the difference is that when we went to Bodo last year, we were already 3-1 up.
So we all said we're going to get beaten. We all said we're going to lose to Frankfurt. Frankfurt away, what a hostile atmosphere. We knocked them out.
Right. Frankfurt away was a really good result. That was the standout result for the whole competition for me. The home game.
Do you not think we can beat? Do you not think we can beat Fulham at home next round? Because Newcastle got Fulham. Do you not think we can beat them if we got?
Yeah,
Fulham
but Arsenal,
100%.
Arsenal, Chelsea, and City, I think would have too much for us in the semis.
We've beaten City already this year. Chelsea will find out what we're like this weekend. I don't know. I just think if we stay in it,
difficult.
There's no easy trophy to win. But of the ones we're in, this is the easiest one, I think. In fact, this is the only one I think we can win. The only one. We're not winning anything else, are we?
We've scored 17 league goals, and if you include own goal, as obviously at Brighton, you got 10 scorers for 17 goals. I think Frank has done fantastic to get us to 3rd place. I honestly do, because this is not a top 3 team. This is not a top.
So why can't he? So why can't he win a? So Lubo. So on that basis, then why can't he win a trophy?
Because the clubs that are involved are of a higher level than they were in the Europa League.
But we're above 18 of those clubs in the league
at the moment. But when it evens itself out, we play 6 of the bottom 8 out of those 9 games. Let's see how we do in the next 3, because we're playing.
We 100. If we got past Newcastle, I think we could 100% have made it. Because people making the argument, oh look, now we haven't got to worry about the Carabao Cup anymore. All you're really gaining is 3 midweek, 3 midweeks by going all the way further, right? The quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and the finals held on a weekend anyway. So like you're gaining 3. You have 3 fewer midweek matches if you were to go the whole way. Arsenal aren't putting out their full strength team. Crystal Palace are putting out a stronger team than they probably need to. But like you say, Fulham are there for the taking. If you got Fulham, I think you could get yourself into the semi-final. And at that point, once you're in the semi-final, it's worth the sacrifice. It's only not worth the sacrifice when it's the 4th and the 5th round. But once you get to the semi-final, you're starting to get one eye on the final, and you're starting to consider we could be a team that hasn't won a trophy in 17 years, and then you win 2 in 8 months, 10 months, or whatever. I think it's worth it, but it isn't worth it. The proof will be in the pudding. The only way it was acceptable to sort of rotate and rest is if you take on Chelsea and you play good football or whatever style of football, but you actually get the 3 points. Then it's justifiable. If you
just don't lose, even if we draw, I think that's acceptable because it's Chelsea, isn't it? If we draw,
I think the draw is a good result. What you do in Europe doesn't necessarily mean that you'll do that the result will work out on the Saturday. We made 8 or 9 changes in Galatasaray last year, came back and lost at home to Ipswich. With apart from Van der Ven, we had a full strength team. So it doesn't always work out. I'm just saying that yes, if things had gone better, if breaking it down to key moments in last night's game, if Kinski and Ritchie had been on their game, then we could have won that. Yes, beat Fulham, get to a semi. What happens? You end up probably losing, getting battered like we did at Anfield in the semi last year.
Well, I think Liverpool are out, aren't they? They're out.
No, Liverpool are out. But no, the point I'm making, if it's Arsenal or Chelsea, I'm sorry, I just don't see us beating Arsenal, Chelsea or City over 2 games. I don't think we've got the squad this year. I just don't. We can't even. We can barely hold the ball up.
So what? What are we playing for this year then, Lubo? Lubo. So what are we playing for this year? This
year is a work in progress.
I hear this every year. Every year is a work in progress.
Well, listen.
Do you know what, Lubo? Let me say this. If Arsenal win the league this year, it's not just because they've got the best squad. It's because all the other clubs have fucked around. And every year there's always a drop-off. And it's the team that's ready to pounce to take advantage. We should just at least be in a position where you never know. We can pounce. Conte said it. When we were chasing down top 4, he said, as long as I can keep us there, if the opportunity comes, I want us to be able to pounce. And we did. For me, I don't think we should just write off this season. Oh, it's work in progress. Sod that. Keep us in a place where if with 5 games to go, we can grab top 4, go for it. If we can get to a semi-final of the Carabao Cup, go for it. But we've got this habit of let's just write things off and use the excuse of project, process. Life isn't like that. Opportunities come when you least expect them. You've got to be there to take advantage. So I don't think we should just write off the season the way you're saying it. Because it's not just you, Lubo, by the way. I'm not going to go. A lot of Spurs fans are doing this. It's transitional. It's project. You can do both at the same time. We can do a project and stay in contention of certain things at the same time. You never know.
Forget all the words, project, transitional. Forget all of that. Football's about.
You're the one that used the words.
Hang on. Football's about players. We haven't got the players. I looked at that front line because he literally played Bergvall, Sarr, and Bentancur in midfield with Simmons slightly advanced, and then he played the 2 up front yesterday. And you look at those 2 and you put your head in your hands and you think this is the worst front 2 that I have seen since Raziak and Booth 25 years ago. So I don't know how we are talking about top 4.
But yet we're the top scorers in the league, Lubo.
At the moment. So let's look at it.
What do you want me to go by? Where we are now? Where we were a week ago? Where we are in
Frank has got us overachieving. That's how I look at it realistically. I think he's done a fantastic job to get us to thirds. This is not a top 3 team. This really isn't.
Oh, you say that, but look at the other teams around us. They're all falling apart. They're all falling off. No one's consistent. Nobody.
Okay, listen.
Other than Arsenal, everyone's like this.
When we play, I think it's Brentford on the 30th of December. That will mark 19 games. That'll mark the halfway point of the league. Let's see where we are there. Then we've got a realistic idea of how we're doing. Then hopefully
is the squad, if it's fully fit, a top 3 squad, Lubo?
No. This squad fully fit. I would have down as 6, top 6. If we're gonna challenge for top 4, I'm sorry, we don't have a squad like Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal.
Looking at the other teams this year, right? Looking at all the other teams this year, what's going on? A fully fit Tottenham can challenge for top 4, no question of a doubt. Based on what I'm seeing at Anfield, based on what I'm seeing with Chelsea, based on what I'm seeing with Brighton, based on what I'm seeing with Villa and Newcastle, they're all like this. And we are above all of them with no Solanke, no Kulu, no Maddison, no Vicario, no Romero, no Bissouma. I'm sorry. I think
Still.
a fully fit Tottenham.
No Gray.
on the-
No Gray.
I deliberately missed him out. Right? A fully fit Tottenham on the massive assumption that the other teams don't suddenly pick up their game and all become really good, right? Big assumption. But we're doing it with this injury crisis. I think a fit Tottenham can definitely challenge for top 4, especially now we're at the Carabao Cup.
You know what, Stoll? Let me press pause for 1 second because it's a perfect segue to move on from the was it right to rotate to the next question, which is about the fan base. And I've just got an update from Johnny. Johnny should be here in 20 minutes. He's caught in black cab traffic, apparently. Some selfish person had an accident on the M25. Hope they're all okay. Let me do a couple of super chats and then we'll move on to this Spurs fans unrealistic, because I think it's important to figure out where the chat feels about the expectations. What are they? Are they reasonable? And obviously, with regards to Thomas Frank and things, I think that there's a lot of agendas. I genuinely do. I know it's a dirty word, agendas, but I do think there's point scoring. I think there's a hell of a lot of factions in the fan base that are less interested in actually what the Tottenham story is, and more interested in saying "I told you so" whenever they get the chance. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Let's get some super stickers done. And we got Houdini. He's always here. Dean Law, big up to you, my man. Listen, when Saber hosts this show, he doesn't get the sound effects that I get. Back on my StreamYard account, I can do this. The super sticker train, ladies and gentlemen. So if you would like to join Dino on the sticker train, then we will pick you up wherever you are. Let us know where you're from, what you're doing, and we'll pick you up on the train. Thank you very much, Dino. Thank you for your support, buddy. As always, absolute legend. We've also got a super chat from a user who says, since we signed with SIS.
Sean, SIS are Science in Sport. They're a company that focus on endurance and performance enhancement of athletes. So Spurs have partnered up with them to help the performance and endurance of our players. And what you're saying is, since we've joined up with them, we've actually got more injuries. So
fantastic. When did we sign up with these guys? I wasn't aware of that.
I think it was during the summer. I'm sure I'll find out. I'm sure it was this summer.
Okay. Big up to you, SIS. Do better, please. Do better. If you're getting our money, getting a good contract, make sure you do better. Appreciate you, user, who's come back in with another one saying, remember the votes in the previous show? Oh, yeah, that's right. In the last show, I think Stel put out a poll, didn't he, saying what was the priority? And I think everyone said, or the vast majority of people said that beating Chelsea was more important than anything else. So, yeah, interesting, user. Good point, mate. Thank you very much for the support.
Oh, buddy. Sorry, Sean, beg your pardon. We teamed up with SIS in the summer of 2022.
Just before Ange. No, actually, no, that was Conte, wasn't it?
During Conte, yeah.
Conte, okay.
So Daniel signed them up.
Here we go.
Do me a favour.
Well, he did. Yeah, Daniel did sign them up. Yeah.
He did sign them up. Did you see that Daniel Levy was? He's not good enough for Tottenham, but he's good enough for Real Madrid. Lubo, did you see that, mate?
Yeah.
He's out there with the big wigs at Real Madrid.
What is that about? Do you know what?
Listen, I'm just saying
them. I know what's going on.
Galacticos know a Galactico when they see one, and my chairman is moving up in the world.
Let me tell you what Levy's doing. Right, I'll tell you what he's doing. He's gone to Real Madrid, and he sat there. He said, "Guys, that lot did the dirty on me. They kicked me out of my own club. Do you know that?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if I were you, I'd make a cheeky offer for Van de Ven and speak to his agent. I can speak to his agent for you.
There might be a release clause in there. There might be a release clause in there for 65 million quid. If you happen to trigger it on the 1st of July. Yeah. I still want Daniel Levy to get in bed with Sheikh Khalifi of PSG and Qatar fame and come back in and buy the club. Monster buyout, but Daniel Levy's back in as chairman, my chairman, all the way. That would drive Levy.
Sean, I'll tell you what. If he somehow persuades Real Madrid to sign Richarlison, he's my chairman too. I will call him my chairman if he does that.
Yeah, I think we all would.
Sean,
Lubo.
Sean, this is your new club, isn't it?
Well, me and Billy T. Me and Billy T on the train. Listen, I'll give the kids a couple of transfer windows to figure out what their ambition looks like. But I'm suspicious. I'm suspicious. You know. Listen, January is only a couple of months away now, so they better be doing some work because we do need a lot. So we're going to be talking about that in the kind of final segment of the show. Let's get back to these last super chats. The last one, Andrew Burnett. Big up to you, Andy. Thank you very much indeed. He says, "Am I the only one? Wow, am I the only one that is happy that we lost last night?"
He must be a
How
Newcastle.
can you be happy when we lose? I don't understand that.
He must be a Geordie.
Oh,
Do you know what?
Yeah, it's probably a Geordie.
No, why would he say that?
Or he could be a Gooner.
No, he's saying he's
we
happy
lost.
that we lost. We lost,
Yeah.
so he's a Tottenham
We
fan.
lost. Well, it's...
I think there are a section of the fan base that are more happy when we lose. You know, misery loves company. Yeah.
Fuck that. How can you? Yeah, we're out the
Big up to
cup.
Andrew.
Yay! We're out the cup. Yay!
Big up to you, Andrew. Oh, he's come back in. He's sort of qualifying it, saying FA over the FA Cup over the EFL.
We're not winning the FA Cup, mate. We're not winning the FA Cup.
Still, why not? It's the same teams in it. Why not?
No, because those competition. First of all, there's more games to play to get there. Secondly, the FA Cup, the bigger clubs take it a bit more seriously.
Yeah, because they get their own weekends. The FA Cup games get the third round, the fourth round, and the fifth round get their own Saturdays.
The rotation is more in the Carabao Cup.
It is. No, 100% it is. I think the Carabao Cup is the most difficult domestic trophy to win because you have to squeeze it in amongst your midweek games. If you're playing in Europe, you have to squeeze that in too. The FA Cup does get its own weekend, so it's easier to sort of prioritise it. All right, listen. Let's move on to, are the Spurs fans unrealistic? The reason I'm asking this is because there's never a happy fan base. Still, there's never a situation where all the fans can sit there and just kind of unify behind a certain position, a certain movement. And there is an element of the fan base that are sitting there criticising, challenging the style of football when we're sitting third. I don't remember any. I can't believe I can't remember ever seeing a fan base in the summer saying that Tottenham would be anything like a top four candidate. I think we all did this kind of poll before the season started on this channel. I think that all of us at best said that we would finish sixth if everything went well and with an improved squad. But it was largely sort of 7th, 8th, 9th was the kind of consensus on a good season, stretching down to like 10th, 11th, 12th if the squad wasn't improved. Yet we're sixth, third. Apart from last night, before last night, we were undefeated on the road, undefeated in the Champions League. Not playing pretty football, but certainly getting the outcomes. And yet there's a section of the fan base that aren't happy. Are they unrealistic still?
Depends what your expectation is. For me, I said it on Monday. I was very clear. I'd go full strength against Newcastle, full strength against Chelsea, and rotate against Copenhagen. That's my expectation. That's my demand. That's my desire as a fan. But for other fans, you saw with the previous super chat, I'm happy we lost. I can't relate to that. I simply can't relate to that world. To me, that is a distant world from where I am as a Spurs fan. For other fans, they'll say, do you know what? It's not the end of the world that we're out. We've really got to focus on finishing top four if we can. That's the priority because we need the money and we need Champions League. So I think it comes down to what type of fan are you? What do you want? What do you prioritize? Some fans will say, do you know what? I don't mind football that isn't too exciting as long as it wins. I like winning football. Other fans will say, do you know what? I don't mind it once in a while. But if in general the football isn't exciting and entertaining, I don't want it. I don't want us to do that. It all comes down to what type of fan you are. I think in terms of being realistic with what we can truly achieve this season, what can Spurs really achieve? I think fans don't know yet. I don't think fans know what we can achieve because the manager's only been here 2 months. We've got a lot of injuries. We're high up in the league with the top scorers with the worst attacking lineup of any team. Nothing makes sense. So it's how can you? I think it's very difficult for any fan to know what this team can do this year, especially when you're seeing other so-called big clubs around us faltering constantly. I mean, just look at Liverpool. I mean, you can't write it. They're going to spend £500 million and they've gone 10 years backwards. So realistically, what can we do this year will determine whether you're being realistic or unrealistic. For me, I think we could have won the Carabao Cup, or at least got to the semis. And I also think that we can knock on the door of top 4 on the basis that we get some injured players back as the season goes on, and we do some business in January. That's my expectation. If from now we end up finishing 8th or 10th, I'm going to say that was a fucking disaster and no trophies. I'm going to say that was shit. Really?
So you think expectations can pivot during the season based on as the environment changes? Absolutely,
which is why I say you just got to stay in it, because you never know what opportunity might arise. Conte said this to us, and I totally agree with him. You just don't know what might happen. You never know. So if we finished top 6 this year and got to a quarter-final or a semi-final of a cup, I think that's very acceptable. But I think we can do a bit more than that. If we ended up mid-table, no trophies, I'd say, do you know what? I'm sorry, but we can't just say project, transition, process. Really? So, but again, Sean, that's me. That's my expectation. Johnny, you, Lubo, people in the chat, you might see it completely differently. So your expectation is different. I think the one thing I will say, and then I'll finish talking, I think the style of football will be the biggest talking point amongst our fans this year with regards to expectation. It's the style of play. That's the one that seems to be kind of sneaking into conversations as the biggest kind of gripe. So again,
I agree, mate. I think that I am someone, I hold my hands up. Obviously, I want to win every game, but I've said it 1,000 times. Like, I'm not holding the trophy if we win it. It's not my trophy. I'm not a winner because I support a team that's won. I'm not a loser because I support a team that doesn't, whatever. I think for me, when I dial in to watch a game of football, I want to be entertained. And I'm more entertained recently watching other teams play than I am watching Tottenham. And so I'll tolerate it right now. For sure, I understand and empathise with the situation, the injuries. It's a new system, new season, new manager, lots of news. These things take time, Lubo. But to me, mate, and by the way, Johnny, welcome to the stream, mate. I'll come to you after. I'm just going to bring Lubo in on this one quickly. Lubo, like, to me, I'm part of that camp that does have a little bit more of an emphasis on the input rather than just the output. And I think that, like, if Tottenham go on and finish top 4, but we do it by doing what we did against Everton, that sort of football for the rest of the season, I think people will be okay, fair enough. Not for long, hopefully. But if we do this Everton sort of style of football and then we don't end up in the top 4, then I think people are a little bit more tolerant of lower output if the input factors are entertaining, but they're very intolerant of a lower output if the input factors, like the football you're watching, is boring as hell.
Sure. Listen, I travelled to most games. I wasn't there last night. Hopefully, I will be there at Newcastle for the next game. So for the guys in the chat that are saying, meet me there, with pleasure, we'll have a drink up there. I just want to. It's all about players, and I think it's about being realistic. We'll watch Spurs every single week. We see what players are good. We see what players are very good. We see what players are poor. We can all see the defence is the strongest part of the team. We can all see the attack is the weakest part of the team. I think when you look at the players that the other clubs have got, and we're sort of 3 months into the season, aren't we? We're not in, like mid-August. We're not even 3 months. We're 2.5 months. We're 2.5 months into the season. So for me, Villa are settling down now. They're running into form. Newcastle are running into form. City are getting better. Arsenal are
they just lost?
Sorry,
I just could have sworn I saw City lost.
No, I'm saying that City have been playing much better recently. Yeah, they lost. They won.
Haaland's been playing well.
Haaland's been playing well, but you're not going to write City off, are you, Johnny? So
no, but this narrative. Look, as far as I know, the narrative is last season I went to the games. and I watched 22 times. I walked out of that stadium. Forget the what's name games, forget the cup games and all the rest of it. 22 times I walked out of that stadium, and all I was known for is the twat with the mic, right, who videoed himself coming out of the stadium moaning every single week, right? Because I was meant to be happy. I was meant to be happy walking out of the stadium watching that shit. Oh, ye of short memory, right? And whilst this isn't great, right? I think, like if I'm trying to make a movie, right? But
Sorry,
I'm
I'm halfway through what I was saying. So
go on,
you're asking,
carry on.
I haven't finished yet what I was saying. So just so you, my point is that I want Spurs to win every match. But when we talk about are fans realistic or unrealistic, what do fans expect from this season? We can only judge with the squad we've got. For me, I'm watching games week after week, and we've got very little up front. So for me, we can play. We're solid at the back. We're structured. We're organised. We're disciplined, and we've been clinical at the right time in certain games. Away from home, we've been playing well. At home, not so good. What do I expect from this season? With a full strength squad, and I'm taking Maddison out of there because I don't expect to see him this season. If we can get one or two other players, then I think sixth place is realistic. For the squad as it is now, then I think it's anything from 8th to 10th, to be honest. And we talk about trophies. At the end of the day, you've got to beat any one, maybe two of the top four to win a domestic cup, because obviously the league and the Champions League, we're not getting
Lubo.
And can you see us going up to Anfield, going to Old Trafford, going to City again, going to Chelsea, Newcastle, Villa? I don't think the squad is good enough at the moment.
It's nowhere near good enough. It's nowhere near good enough.
And I think Frank is playing in a pragmatic way to play to our strengths. And playing to our strengths was Sunday. He kept it tight at the back. Thankfully, Vicario had a worldie, and we were clinical, and we took the goals at the right time. And that's how he's playing. And if that's how, with the players we've got, if that's what it takes to win a game, we haven't got a front three like PSG. Do fans want to see us play like PSG? Of course, I would like to see that, but we haven't got Ousmane Dembele, Doué, and Kvaratskhelia. We got Johnson, Richarlison, Odegaard, Tell, and a very good Kudus. So sorry,
Lubo, can I ask you something?
Oh.
Not being dreamland.
I disagree with this. I disagree. Can I ask something, right? So our squad last year wasn't that great, and our manager wasn't great at all. Okay, but yet that team and that manager were one game away from the Carabao Cup final. And by the way, we beat Man City and United en route to get to that semi. We beat Liverpool in the first leg as well, and we won the Europa Cup at the sacrifice of the league. The league was an absolute disaster. Now, if Frank, who's out the Carabao Cup, and let's just assume that maybe we go out of the Champions League. Yeah. If that was to happen, and from January till May, we're just looking at the Premier League and an FA Cup run, do you not think this squad can challenge for top four? I think if it's just those games we focus on only, looking at the competition, Brighton are up and down, Villa are up and down, Newcastle, they've got a bit of a run together. But other than Arsenal and City, nobody is consistent in this league. Nobody. I do think there's an opportunity this year. I never thought this at the start of the season, but having seen how it's gone so far, I think if Spurs are just focusing on Premier League games and the FA Cup and that's it, we can make a genuine charge for top four. I do think that
definitely if you get your players back. Look, the way I look at it,
look,
the way I look at it right now, right, I'm giving an analogy, right? I'm trying to make an action movie, right? And the only actors I've got at the moment is a romantic guy and a guy that does comedy. right? And what I want you to do, right, is start jumping off buildings and stuff. And I'm looking at the rushes, and the rushes say the film's shit. Yeah, I know, but I'm going to have to put this together. I'm going to have to mash it up and do the best I can to make this movie the best I can make it. It ain't great. It ain't great. But, you know, I'll maybe use some CGI to fill in the cracks. I just don't understand I really don't understand what they want. I mean, I can I just say, first of all, it's the first time ever that I can remember that I've not watched the game, right? Either after on TV or whatever. I just haven't had, because I've had the meetings last night and this morning and today. So I've not seen anything other than Jed Spence doing up his shoelaces. That's all I've seen, right? So, you know, I'm completely on the back foot.
So when you put in the chat earlier, Jed Spence with the eye, with the kind of the eye roll, I thought that was your way of saying Jed Spence did okay. My boy Jedley King did okay last night, but you were actually just making out about the shoelace thing. Is that what you were saying?
I saw comments afterwards saying that after he'd done his shoelaces up, and they scored the goal, he was on fire, but I haven't seen any of it, so I couldn't comment on it.
I thought it was his best performance offensively. I thought he had a bit of a tough night. He got skinned a couple of times, but when we were clicking, he was largely responsible for a lot of the catalyst that started the move. So it was his best performance offensively coming out of the left back role. I was pretty impressed.
But again, what we've got is we've got an actor who's playing the wrong role. You know, he's on the left side. We all know he should be on the right side, but at the end of the day, he can't go there. There isn't the part for him there. Because we got Pedro Porro, who's our star man on that side. But look, I just think that when that draw was made against Newcastle, most people sighed. All I heard was, well, that's us cooked. That's going to be a tough one. Sandwiched in between Chelsea, this game, that game, this game. It's going to be tough game. I'm not expecting anything. I haven't seen the game, so I can't comment on the performance. But these people now who I'm starting to see, you know, comments on Twitter and stuff going on, it's a disgrace, an absolute shambles that we lost this game. I don't know if it's the majority or just the minority that I've seen who seem to be.
The performance was fairly decent, Johnny. I was saying at the start, like long before you jumped on, right at the very get-go, I put a video out last night, and when I woke up this morning, the comments were like
pretty good.
No, nobody agreed with what I said, but people either said that you weren't harsh enough, like you were saying that there were positives, there were no positives, it was embarrassing, or they were saying, how are you saying that we were outclassed generally by Newcastle? There was nothing between the two teams. There's two camps around last night. One of the camps are saying that Tottenham were well worthy, and it was like if there was just a better striker or taking the chances in the moment, we were going to get it. And the other half was saying, no, it was a fucking shit show. And like both things can't be true. Like it was closer. It wasn't like there were definitely positives from last night, but there was also, I think, the reasonable take is that Newcastle were the better team and that ultimately had a fairly comfortable evening.
I think what I saw was, you know, Richarlison and Johnson were shambolic, absolutely shambolic, and Bergvall had his best game for a while. Bentancur looked much better without Paulinho in the middle, and Jed Spence was superb. But I don't know what the fan base wants. I think at the end it was 12. It was 12 players out. If Odobert is now injured,
it was 12.
Yeah, with Odobert out, and
Johnny, mate, last night basically we matched Newcastle. We did. We matched them, and
even with all those injuries, even with all those players missing, really,
they rested a lot of players as well. They
had a strong team, though. No,
they were the better team. Still, they were the better team. Come on.
Hold on a minute. I think we matched Newcastle. They had a stronger bench though, and it showed. But we matched them. We could have got something out of the game. The difference was up front, we were shambolic, absolutely god awful. Their goalie actually had a decent game. He made a couple of really good saves. especially one from Pape Sarr. The save he made from Pape Sarr was top draw. That deserved to go in the back of the net. And Kinski fucked us. He had an absolute clanger. So if you take away the clanger from the goalie that shouldn't have been in goal because Vicario got injured, and then you look at up front, if Richarlison...
Sorry, Vicario's injured, did you say?
No, he's not. He said that a few times still. But all that Thomas Frank said was that he was rested. He was allowed to stay at home at rest, but he picked up a niggle in the Everton game. But he's fine for the Chelsea game.
Okay. Well, he was rested because he had a niggle. So if he didn't have the niggle, maybe he plays, and that Kinski moment doesn't happen. And also up front, we just lacked. We said it every week. We just lacked that clinical striker. So if you take those two factors out, we matched Newcastle. We did match them, but when they made all their subs,
I said this again. I think
Sean, bring up your stats again. Your stats showed it was a fairly even game.
Yeah, but the stats always tell one side of it. They tell a story, but
look the XG was awful.
Right. It was 50-50. The XG was one goal difference or whatever. Big chances 2 versus 1. Total shots 10-11. They made their goalkeeper made 6 saves out. You're right. The stats sort of tell that story.
6 saves. Wow. Okay.
The way that I kind of perceived it though was that I think that Tottenham fans generally make this if you're a neutral watching a game, you're not analysing one team more than the other. And I think that Tottenham fans, or just a fan of any club, when they're watching their own team, when the other team has the ball, I think a lot of the analysis that's going on in my mind anyway is what are Tottenham doing when we don't have the ball? Are we getting in the right positions? Are we defending well? Are we doing that? Rather than really observing and appreciating what Newcastle are doing with the ball. And I think when we have the ball, I'm less inclined to look at what Newcastle are doing without it, and I'm more focusing on what we're doing with it. Because that's my bias, I guess.
Sure.
I think if you were a neutral and you zoomed out, I would say that Newcastle United, for the most part in that game, did more with the ball than we did. And that, yes, there were chances on both sides, but I think that Newcastle were the more dominant team. I think they won the midfield battle quite clearly.
What was frustrating, Sean, is that the better team on the day don't always win the game, and that's why, for me, I thought they looked sharper. I thought their movement was better.
Yeah, but who cares if their goalkeeper's the busier of the 2 goalies?
Sure. No. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters
their goalkeeper was busier than ours.
They got a better fit squad, though, haven't they? The players that they have that are fit are much better than what we had on the pitch. I would go as far as to say, because Sean and I were looking at the players that were on the bench for the weekend's fixtures, and those players that were on the bench would have definitely been an asset for our team. Malanga, Barnes, and so and so. So listen, let's not make any bones about it. Did you not think this was a tough game?
Look at
absolutely.
Look at these relative benches, right? Joel Linton, absolute unit. And by the way, I've said that. I know I don't want to say this and over repeat myself here, but the game has moved. The game of football in the Premier League has done a 100% shift towards physicality, set pieces. If you want to be the set piece king, you need bigger players. Newcastle United have built a squad of absolute monsters. Joel Linton is 6'4". Walter Made 6'6". Dan Burns 6'7". William Asula, who's like a young Swedish kid, he's about 6'3". Danish kid, sorry. Yeah. He's about 6'2", 6'3". He's an absolute unit. Look at this bench that they've got. Anthony Gordon, Guimaraes, Trippier, Asula, Joel Linton, Nick Pope, Sven Botman, 6'7". Lewis Miley and Jacob Murphy is another absolute unit as well. Look at Tottenham's bench. Luca Gunn, 2 kid goalkeepers, Mickey van der Ven, obviously, James Rosewell, who I think Perchy said it on my show last night. He said that he should absolutely have 51 as his number, area 51 for
What, did he go missing?
No, he didn't come on. Callum Oluwesi, Dane Scarlett. We had nothing on the bench, absolutely nothing to go with.
Yeah, but what are you trying to prove here, though? Because regardless of this, if you take Nick Pope out of the Newcastle goal, who made that unbelievable save from Pape Sarr's shot, and you replace him with Kinski, who completely fluffed his lines and conceded that silly goal, it's 1-1. If you just swap the goalies over, regardless of all that,
you can see it on
the
here.
difference in bench,
Ramsdale's got 9.4. Listen,
that's the difference, Sean. That was the difference. Their goalie was the difference, and our goalie. If you swap the goalkeepers, Spurs take this game to penalties.
Yeah,
I think we take the game to penalties.
Yeah, look, Ramsdale did have a great game. Obviously, and Kinski
He would, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but look, I think Nick Voltemade had a really great game as well. I think people look at him and think he's just like a kind of Peter Crouch type player. He's brilliant with his feet. He's such an intelligent player. The way
are these numbers correct? Because Richarlison got 7.2. Is this a joke?
No, well, this is SofaScore's algorithm is toilet. It's absolute toilet.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It's because he had 3 shots on target, and from 4 shots, he gets an elevated rating. Even though 2 of those shots on target, those headers, he could have put them if he glided them into the corner, they were guaranteed goals rather than the softer shit stuff that he did. So yeah, forget about the kind of SofaScore ratings because the algorithm is
was
rubbish.
Brendan Johnson's quite relative.
I thought Brendan Johnson actually had a decent 20 minutes in that game. I thought he was okay.
20 minutes, blimey, very impressive. What about Xavi Simons? Because I can't believe the diversity of comments about Xavi Simons' performance.
I thought he was really good. I thought he like.
My son says he thought he was really good. Others saying he's like he could turn out to be the worst buy Spurs have had since blah blah blah.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. He's growing in confidence. I personally thought that Bergvall was like a connector in chief, and they worked together quite well in bringing things together. In that 20-minute spell from the 30th minute until the end of the first half, I thought that Xavi Simons looked really good. But in the second half, everything just fizzled out pretty quickly. Once they got their second goal in the 50th minute, the game was kind of wrapped up.
Mawani's the player, though.
Guys, do you remember on Monday I said it might be worth just giving Xavi Simons a game or 2 break from this squad? I stick by that. I still think he needs just to be taken out of the firing line just for a little bit. I do. Because yesterday, I am on the fence of... I don't think he was poor yesterday. People that say that clearly didn't watch the game. I don't think he was anything to write home about, though.
Is he imposing himself, though, still? Is he imposing himself on the game?
He's not. He's scrappy. He's really scrappy. He's not afraid to get stuck into duels as well.
Yeah,
he comes back and gets stuck. I actually genuinely think that if we are looking for some sort of box-to-box midfielder, I don't hate the idea of seeing Xavi Simons kind of coming a little bit deeper, because I genuinely think that he's more than happy to get stuck in and do some of the dirty work that a midfielder has to do, and he has the passing arrangement. But like at the moment, because he hasn't got the support in front of him, he gets frustrated that he looks up and goes, "Oh, I've got Johnson over here. I've got Bergvall, I've got Matisse Tell, or I've got whatever, Richarlison." I think he's really scrappy. He could become like a Luka Modric type player.
Do you really think he's an out-and-out 10, though? Because I think he's a hybrid.
This is what I said.
In a hybrid 8.
He's a hybrid 10-8. I said this.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Still, I agree.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I genuinely think that he's a light frame, but he is not intimidated at all to get stuck into challenges. He really isn't, and I think that's a compliment to him.
Most players that come from the German league are physical. To be fair, it's not too far off the physicality of the Premier League. Do you know what? I'll tell you what frustrates me with Xavi Simons. There's moments where he's not under pressure and there's a clear ball or a clear shot on, and he doesn't do it. And he either passes back or side, or he doesn't take the shot. And I don't know why he does that, because he didn't do that at RB Leipzig. And the other thing that frustrates me is, and it's not his fault, when he does get it right, he gets fouled. So yesterday, he picked up the ball in the midfield, turned the man, dinked it around him, ran past him. You're thinking, go on, that's the player we signed. And then wallop. He gets wiped out. And you're thinking, fuck's sake. And the player got booked. He did get booked. He got a yellow card. But it's almost like that was Xavi's moment to really take it forward and do something. And
yeah, I rate him. I really do. I think he's a class player. There's nothing about his start that I think that people should be worried about. yes, there's an acclimation and assimilation process, but like, you know, if you're going to give him a hard time, Florian Wirtz doesn't get. Liverpool fans aren't panicking about Florian Wirtz, and he cost 2.5 times as much.
He's
There's
been
just that.
absolute rubbish.
Yeah, he hasn't been great. Florian Wirtz has been absolutely terrible. I think Johnny and I, we spoke about this. I said at the time, like, it's far too much money for a kid, you know, who hasn't proved himself yet. But Xavi Simons is a baller. He's an absolute baller. But the Premier League is a different beast, and you have to kind of like give him the confidence. I'd love it if Thomas Frank just put an arm around his shoulder and just said, "Listen, you're my guy. Don't be afraid. Don't be in any way worried about making mistakes, because we want to build this team around you." Words to that effect. Let him have the confidence to kind of throw caution to the wind, because if you get a confident version out of him that's got a bit of swagger, then I think you're going to see some great things. But we obviously need to build around that front lot is a problem, isn't it? The whole front three is a problem.
Sean, listen, I think Simmons has been at Barcelona and PSG. He's no mug. And I think it'll be interesting to see how he plays.
So is Chicken Royale.
Okay, well, listen, he came out of La Masia.
The Messiah?
La Masia.
Hail the Messiah!
He's a very naughty boy.
That's how it's pronounced, and he'll come good. He will come good, I'm sure. Yeah, there's a talented player there.
Yeah.
Do you know next game we're playing Chelsea? If he plays in the 10, he's up against one of the most informed number 6s in the league right now in Caicedo. That's going to be one. If he does well against Chelsea, it will be a baptism of fire. If he doesn't, and there's a good chance he might not, because he's up against a top draw player in that 1v1 battle, you know what the conversation is going to be after the game about Xavi Simons. And there'll be no acknowledgement that he's actually going to be up against one of the best players.
He's got Enzo as well, Estelle. Enzo as well. The only good thing is...
Caicedo's been superb this season, though. He's
been fantastic. More on Delap got sent off, so at least he'll be out.
Another red?
Yeah.
What is it with these red cards, man? Every game.
Wait, who's out? Sorry, say that again.
Delap got a red, didn't he?
Liam Delap.
They get a player sent
off.
Liam Delap's injured.
Oh, I thought he came back and got sent off.
He came back and got sent off yesterday.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, he's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. There you go. There you go.
Chelsea like a red card this season, don't they?
But their midfield of Enzo and Caicedo has been dominant. But saying that, you know, Chelsea are vulnerable this season. They have their own centre back issues, and you know, with an attack, we got possibilities to score. Listen, I'm a huge Kolo Muani fan, and I know we haven't seen a fraction of what he's capable of. All I know is someone said to me he went on a bit of a mazy run when he came on as a sub.
Yeah, he did.
But he's capable of so much more.
The referee got in the way, Johnny. The referee basically tackled him. Yeah. And the referee blew the whistle and they brought it back for a free kick because the referee got in the bloody way. I know,
guys. Let me just press pause for 1 second. I'll tell you what. We'll move. It seems like a nice transition to move into the Chelsea preview. We got like 15 minutes. We got half an hour left, just under half an hour. Just do 15 on the Chelsea preview, and I also do want to ask you guys about what is the biggest priority for upgrades, because there's a lot of debate going about that. But we'll start with the Chelsea preview. But before we get to that, guys, please do smash the like button. I'm looking at the likes right now. We're on 250 likes. There's 700 people here. Big up to you all. If we can get to 350, then we're really talking. We appreciate all the support. It takes nothing to just to drum the thumb, smash the like. Doesn't take a lot of effort. If you are watching on a device that can do that, please do help us out. Hit the subscribe as well. And let's get to this. This is a little super chat here. Big up to you, Foggy Martin from Australia. Big up to you, my man. Must be early in the morning over there. He says, I'm content where we are. I don't expect fancy football now. We don't have the attacking talent. If we sign a 9 and the left winger in the summer, I will have a different outlook. Happy to be hard to beat for now. I think it's a good take, to be honest, Foggy. I think that being hard to beat is it's an underrated asset, an underrated kind of caliber, and we are hard to beat. I think our defensive stability is super impressive. And listen, like I say, away from home, I'm more than happy for Tottenham just to play for set pieces if that's how we want to do it. At home, though, it is a slightly different kettle of fish. I think we do have expectations. I think the fans do have, when they're paying £100 or £80 to go and watch their team play, there is a bit of an extra added pressure. But thank you very much, Foggy Martin. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you for the super chats and for the support. Let's talk a little bit about this Chelsea preview. Johnny, I'll come to you first, my man. We just got past. We just finished playing Newcastle, a place where we haven't had too much success. 4 defeats on the bounce at St James's Park. Now we come back to the home ground where we haven't been fantastic. Our form is pretty ropey at home this season, and we're playing against a team that we have struggled with. As you know, as we've been speaking about, injuries galore for us. Chelsea do have injuries at the back line, but they're pretty good throughout the midfield. Midfield, usually, if you win the midfield battle, you usually have a good chance. What's your overarching sort of thoughts going into the game, Johnny?
Listen, we got a terrible record, as we all know, against Chelsea. I do think that, the fan support when we played Everton was superb. And watching a couple of videos, the fan support last night from the fans who all travelled up to Newcastle was superb. And I believe that on Saturday night, we're going to need every single person in that stadium getting behind the team. No moaning, no groaning, no going in saying we're beaten before we get in, right? And we need to pump it up, and we need to give them every chance, every bit of encouragement to overtake. What we already know is a handicap. We know that we are handicapped going into this game. Sorry, I'm live in the back of a cab at the moment. I've been stuck in here for quite.
No, you're fine, mate. You sound fine.
I just feel like we're up against it. We're up against it with a full team, as we have year after year after year, where expectations are high. Maybe this time, with lower expectations due to the amount of injuries we have, the team will raise itself. I think Thomas Frank will fire them up. What we do know is that they will come to play football. What worries me maybe is the fact that on the counter-attack, they're far more dangerous with Pedro Neto and the likes, Estavo, than what we have in our team. But everything is possible, and I just think that he did have one eye, whether we like to think it or not, on the game on Saturday. I think this for him is very, very important. We need to arrest the home form now, because you just know, Sean, if we lose on Saturday, the fans will be coming for Thomas Frank again.
Well, they will, Johnny. But let me 100% agree with you. If we lose, especially having gone weaker, I mean, we've covered off the Newcastle game sort of fairly extensively, but having gone weaker for the Newcastle game, there is this assumption that just because we've done that, therefore we have to go full strength, and therefore we're entitled to beat Chelsea. What I would like to ask you, Johnny, before sort of next question is playing ugly but winning against Chelsea okay? Or because it's at home, is there a higher demand to actually not just beat Chelsea, but beat Chelsea playing football rather than just playing for set pieces and doing it the kind of ugly way?
Chelsea, beating Arsenal ugly is 100% acceptable. 100%. And when you've got 12 protagonists all missing, when you've got 12 guys missing, and you're going into battle with 12, well, let's just say 5 or 6 guys who really you would like to think should be in your team, then I think, winning ugly is 100% acceptable. Because when all said and done, when we look back in history, who's going to look back and say, oh God, do you remember that one? We only beaten 1-0, a lucky own goal or a deflection. I don't care. When that whistle blows, if we've beaten Chelsea and we go away, we beat Arsenal, I'm celebrating it. And so should we in our current situation. If we have a full team out and we have a great squad, then yes, you've got every right to be maybe questioning the quality of the victory, but not with the current situation as it is.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Listen, I tend to agree. Stel, I'll come to you. Sugar Ray Valentine is putting in a good comment.
Though.
Oh, John. Yeah, sorry, Johnny. What's your prediction for the Tottenham Chelsea game?
Right, I'm going to go mad. I'm going to say we're going to win 2-1.
2-1. I'll let
Just
everyone
going to
come
check
through.
my medication. Hang on. 2-1.
Yes. Stella, I'll come to you. Sugar Ray Valentine, great name by the way, sound like a boxer, has said you try to play attacking football versus Chelsea, you'll get cooked. Not sure if he's saying the U is in the royal U or he's coming at it from a neutral perspective. Stel, does performance matter in this particular game, or is it all about the outcome?
I totally agree with Johnny. There's certain games where no one cares about the performance, just get the win, and Chelsea is one of those games. The only time it's okay is when you play Arsenal, when you play Chelsea, and when you're in a cup final. No one gives a shit about how you play, just win that game. So I'm not looking at the performance, I'm just looking at the result for this one more than any game, more than most games. I've not been to one Spurs v Chelsea game under any manager, regardless of where we are in the league, where in the concourse, in the bars, in the pubs, and when the whistle blows for kickoff, the atmosphere is not electric. We will get behind that team. There is no doubt. We will be ready. We will have alcohol in our system. We will have energy. We will have noise. We will bring it. We always bring it to these games. Spurs never, ever fail to bring it. We will bring it, especially as we're above them in the league, right? We've got something to play for here. So the atmosphere is going to be superb. It's going to be dark under the floodlights. It's a Saturday night too. So people want to go out afterwards and they want to go out on a high. We will be the 12th.
I won't make it back for the Monday show.
We might have to rearrange Monday.
See you Thursday.
Right? Don't be under any illusion. I'm gutted that I can't go, but I'm allowed to go to games after this one. This is going to be a brilliant, brilliant atmosphere. However, having said all that, we are our worst enemy as well. If we go 1-0 down, you bet it's going to go flat pretty quick. So,
Wait, Estelle, let me just quickly reverse engineer the question. So you're saying it doesn't matter how you win, just win.
Yeah.
If we lose, but we lose whilst trying to play ugly set-piece football, all that kind of stuff, will the reaction be more amplified? Will it be more unacceptable than if we lose trying to play good football? Remember, just the context here, that when we lost to Chelsea under Ange in the 11th game of his tenure, and we were doing the half-line offside trap with 9 players on our pitch, and Eric Dyer put in one top bins in the 90th minute, and it was ruled out by a toe offside, Tottenham were applauded, standing ovation off the pitch. And you heard people like Decky saying, we lost the battle, but we won the war, or whatever he said.
No,
right?
we won in life.
We won in life. Well, that's it. We're sorry, won in. Okay.
What does that mean?
Whatever that means, we won in life. So, question is, if we play a certain way and we win, I agree with you. It doesn't matter how we win, just win. But if we play a certain way and we lose, is the reaction going to be apoplectic if we do it the ugly way and we lose anyway?
No, if we don't get battered. If it's 3-0, then yeah, it will be apoplectic. If it's 1-0, but we had chances, the goalie made a save, we hit one off the post, be like, oh, there's so many factors that come into this as to what will determine the fans' emotion at the end of it. It's ridiculous. It's, all it needs is one thing, like
a refereeing decision might be the spot, be anything, right?
Frank
like
tells Mateus Tell to take the penalty kick so that we can equalise, and he misses it. Why the f is Frank giving Tell that responsibility? What's going to happen, right? So, he gives it to Tell. Tell scores the penalty. My manager never gave up on him. That's how you develop players. It goes from 100% euphoria this way to 100% depression the other way in a split moment decision, and that's football. Look, I think the atmosphere will be on point. The fans will do their job, but my concern is if we go a goal down, it goes very flat quick because it will be. I'll tell you what it will be, Sean. It will be a feeling of Chelsea always do this to us. This always happens against Chelsea, and that's going to be the feeling. Because I remember when we lost to Chelsea, I think it was 4-2 or 4-3 in this mental game. I think it was under Ange, where we scored one of the best team goals I've seen, but it was deemed offside to make it 2-0. When we went 1-0 up in that game.
Yes, it was Sonny's goal. Sonny was a foot offside.
Sonny's goal. Right. The stadium was electric that day.
Yeah.
But then we lost the game. Basuma with a ridiculous tackle, giving away a penalty when he didn't need to. It all just fell apart. It all comes down to we have to. I think we need to take the lead because that will keep us on board. If we go down a goal, I think the fans just lose faith too easily, and it'll just be almost not a loser mentality, but it's almost the inevitable is going to happen, isn't it? Here we go again. So,
what are you saying then? Bit of dead air time here.
I'm gonna go. Wouldn't it just be typical for Frank to win this game? Wouldn't it? Against this is our predictions are so wrong when we. Do you know what
your predictions are, mate? I'm top of the table. What are we doing here?
I'm second.
How about that?
Has he said a score yet? I'm still waiting.
I'm still waiting. And I haven't even got Rubo's take on the overall game. Hurry up, Phil. Give us a prediction.
It's not Pythagoras' theory, mate.
Sorry. Okay, 2-1 Chelsea. 2-1 Chelsea.
What are we doing? What's the score?
2-1 to Chelsea.
2-1 to Chelsea. Okay, so sorry, I'll come to mine at the end.
I think you're behind the team there, still right behind the team.
Wait, Johnny, what did you say? What did you say,
2-1 Spurs.
2-1 Spurs, 2-1 Chelsea. Lubo, same question to you, mate. Like, if we, unless you disagree, win ugly, fine, as long as you win. Lose pretty, is it more acceptable than losing ugly?
Listen, I don't care how we win, as long as we win. Unfortunately, I think they'll have too much for us, and I think we'll lose this 2-1.
Right, but so okay, that's fine. So there's your prediction, 2-1. But the style in which we go about it, do we go about it in a pragmatic way, or do we go about it in an attacking way? Do we try to go after them? Does Thomas Frank need to consider the zeitgeist's opinion of football that Tottenham are playing at home?
I think.
Did you just say no? I'm going to go about it the way that I think is necessary to win.
Absolutely, he'll do what he has to do to get the result. If we get Romero and Udogie back, that could make my prediction pretty redundant because it'll add.
They won't be back, mate. They're not even on the training ground yet, are they? I think Udogie's just back, just back, but not with the full group, so he's not back in time.
And Romero is. So I'm hoping. Listen, it's if we don't get either of them back, I think Vicario is back. I think Odebear will be back. Listen, another 4-4 classic would be terrific. Remember that Robbie Keane equaliser was absolutely superb.
We're not scoring 4 goals against Chelsea.
We're not scoring 4 goals. You're right.
We've scored as many goals as any other team in the Premier League this year.
Yes.
Believe it or
not.
4-4. Matisse Tell hat-trick still.
Scott Amos, Spurs. 6-0
How have we managed, Lubo? How have we managed, despite the shit attack that we've been speaking about all season? Everyone says this one's shit, that one's shit, and we're all very much in agreement. So how the hell has this Thomas Frank, who hasn't got a clue what he's doing, managed to be the joint top goal scorers?
We've got 10 goal scorers for the 17 goals, including OG.
Yeah, but how have we managed to do it with such a shit manager?
Because Johnny, at the start of the season, I think we all said this before a ball was kicked in August, and we all said it's clear that Thomas Frank is looking for the incremental gains. He's looking at the set pieces. We saw it at PSG. We saw it against Newcastle. We saw it against Arsenal in pre-season. We saw the long throw. It was evident to us all that he sees those micro percentage point gains in the set pieces, and it just so happens that the rest of the league has also gone in that direction, because I feel like the teams that have got the more capability of playing good football, they get like what has grown, like their ability to do good football has been superseded by other teams' ability to do the low block better. And so if you can't break teams down, you go down the path of the set pieces, and those teams that are more polished in that regard, and Tottenham are one of them, are seeing the benefits.
You know what my mate said to me? My mate said, sorry, I was going to say, my mate said to me at the beginning of the season, I said, well, we haven't got good enough strikers, we're not good enough. He said to me, how long have you been watching Thomas Frank at Brentford? What you know is Thomas Frank always finds a way, even with shit, to create chances. He finds a way to create chances to score goals, even when he's not in the game. That's why they've always managed to somehow, not just throw-ins and set pieces. I'm not talking about corners and that. He finds ways, and I think we haven't had a chance to see that really so much from open play recently, because we don't have a Mawani, we don't have a firing Mawani, we don't have a firing Simmons, and so like all the pieces aren't together. But I'm really looking forward to seeing us when we have someone as exciting as a Vissa and a Buemo attacking and playing the manner which I've seen him play before. But I just think it's just interesting that I doubted our ability to score goals this season with the weak attack that we had, and yet somehow hasn't been attractive, but somehow we've managed to do it.
But we've won 3-0 on 3 occasions. So of the 9 games, we scored 9 in 3, and then we scored 8 in 6.
That's okay.
So we've scored more than half in a third of the games.
Was that West Ham, Everton? Who was the third game?
Burnley.
Oh, Burnley. Yeah, Burnley.
So,
all right. So Lubo, are you just around that? We've got 8 minutes left, probably 6 by the time we've done the last super chat and things as well.
He's doing it.
Just quickly. So Lubo, you're saying you don't care. Like you want Thomas Frank to just if Thomas Frank thinks the best way to beat Chelsea is bore the life out of the game and just nick you're okay with it.
Yep. That's right. Listen, if you walk away after a game and you've won, a couple of weeks later you've forgotten. All that counts is the result. You forget about
but the setup of the game has to be decided before the outcome is known. So my point is just like with the zeitgeist being so critical of the level of entertainment on offer, does he tell the team to throw more caution to the wind and play a little? Like I think that was part of the design on last night. I think that he said, play a little bit more, and we tried, but we ultimately were picked off on the other side because there's a consequence to being a little bit more loose, right? That you're going to be a little bit less tight at the back.
We were 1-0 down in a cup match when they did take the handbrake off and go for it.
True.
We were playing well within ourselves at 0-0 for 24 minutes.
True. Good point.
So
what are you saying? What's your prediction for the game, Lubo?
Unfortunately, I think Chelsea will nick it 2-1.
So there's 2-2-1s, and Johnny's saying 2-1 to Spurs. I'm saying 2-2. Stelios, just for my own ego rub, do you want to just give us a quick update of where we sit in the league table right now?
No, Stel, don't. You just make your prediction like we have without knowing what the table looks like.
I'm saying 2-2. I've made my prediction. I just want to know how many points am I ahead of you lot? That's what I do.
When did we last beat? What's more important? When did we last beat Chelsea at home with Harry Kane and co?
Yeah, a while ago. We haven't beaten them for a while.
When was it?
When Dele Alli scored a header, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, 2-0.
Right, so it's a regular occurrence. So we've got a fan base that is expecting Thomas Frank to go out and beat them with with no Son, no Kane, half the players that we have got missing that should be playing missing. Yeah, they are expecting us to beat Chelsea.
All right, listen. So we had the predictions, right? Last topic. We got 5 minutes, guys. Quick 5-minute round table. Is the priority? Here's the last segment. Is the priority for January. January is just around the corner, by the way, and there's lots of rumours out right now. Quick take on these rumours. Today we've been linked with Jared Bowen of West Ham fame. We've been linked with Morten Hulmand, who's a brilliant 6. I don't think he's going to come to Tottenham. I think he's going to be City's.
Chakahawa.
Samu Agahawa. Well, he's been a link for a while. We've been linked with Scott McTominay, another 6, transitioned into an 8, into a box-to-box 8. But for me, nowhere near good enough at passing to fill the gap. But rather than talking about specifics, I guess the question I've got for you guys is, as the season has unfolded, is there any pivot in your sort of idealistic priority in terms of January? A lot of people were saying left wing is all we need. Like, that's the number one thing. Go and get Semenyo. That's probably not going to happen. Now people are saying, striker's the most important thing. Other people are saying actually a better midfielder that can connect the dots and can be the tempo master, the architect of the kind of, or the orchestra's kind of conductor is more important. If you were in charge of Tottenham right now, Lube, I'll start with you and we'll go this way around. What would be your priority target? And we've only got a few minutes, by the way.
Probably, because if they get Mwani up to speed, you can play him left. I would go for centre forward. On the 1% chance you inquire about Kane failing that, I would go and get Tony. If there's one now, I think having seen,
you're still saying Harry Kane.
I did say 1%. It doesn't look like he's.
Kane's priority. Second is Ivan Toney ahead of everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, definitely.
Fair enough. So striker's your priority above everything else. Stelios, I'll come to you, mate. If you had the checkbook, who would you be writing checks for?
Striker, I agree. That's the most important position we need to sort out. I don't care if it's Ivan Toney, Vuskovic. I'm really not bothered. I just someone that can put the ball in the back of the net from at least 6 yards out. When our strikers aren't scoring from 6 yards, we really are, clutching. So we need a striker, even if it's on loan for the rest of the season. We need some. We need. This club is crying out for a number 9. We desperately need a number 9. We can create. Frank has shown that we create enough chances to win games. We just don't convert the chances. So,
all right. Yeah, striker as well. Johnny, over to you, my man. What were you saying?
Well, for me, we need a left winger, we need a striker, and we need an out 10. And I mean old school 10, picking up the ball, chipping the ball over the top, passing the ball through the middle, right? Xavi Simons, for me, isn't that player, right? He's the hybrid. He can play alongside a 10, give us an extra creative flair. But I think 100% we need an out. I was against Vuskovic, but right now I think I'd take him if it was out on loan.
Vlahovic.
Vlahovic. I would take. I'd probably take a Lookman. Malik Fofana we've spoken about, but I don't know, he went off on a stretcher.
He's injured until February now.
So that's gone. But the 10 is the question mark. Where can you find that magical 10 that this club has had historically, going back through the years? We've always had a fantastic 10
from Bilbao, from your club.
Yeah, possible. But we need those 3 players. Those are the 3 positions. And let's not forget, we need an out-and-out top quality left centre-back. If we're not going to, unless Vuskovic is going to play there somehow. Akaluch isn't a bad shout.
He looked fantastic, didn't he?
We spoke about him, but a lot of people thought he was too weak. But I would 100% take him happily.
Sorry, Sean, can I add that I would prioritise a left winger if Mwani begins to start scoring goals. Sure. If Mwani finds his feet and starts scoring, then I'd go for a left winger.
Yeah, fair enough. Guys. Yeah, for me, I still maintain I want to see the easiest transfer in the business. I don't know why people are underrating it. I just think, for me, Ademola Lookman solves so many things. He's a far better player than he was when he left the Premier League. People that remember him at Fulham, Charlton, Everton, and Leicester, he's far better. And he's got 24 goal GA in him and he's doing it this season. For me, he's a brilliant player, and he'll be cheap as chips as well. We're not going to get Semenyo, so let's not bother. But guys, that's it. 59 minutes, 1 hour 59. We've got 30 seconds. Just want to say a massive thank you to Destiny. I didn't get a chance to say it out. Thank you very much for the super chat, my man. I blame Eugene as well. Big up Eugene.
Poor
Big up
Eugene,
Destiny.
mate. Poor Eugene.
Poor Eugene's getting it tonight. We haven't got any more time to answer any more questions. But guys, we're going to leave it there. I want to say massive thank you. Please do leave a like, leave a subscribe if you haven't already. Get over to us, the Spurs 5 on the podcast format, and we will see you on Monday. Thanks, everybody. And as always, bye.
Bye.